Good evening and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I'm Aaron and I'm going to be your game master again tonight for our Warhammer 40K campaign, Cubicle 7's Wrath and Glory, as we play through the Litanies of Lost Adventures. You may notice we're down a couple of players tonight. They were eaten by rampaging orcs. We hope them well in their recovery, and maybe we'll see them in a couple of weeks. Before we jump into our recap, we're going to go through and I'm going to let the players introduce their characters. They can tell us what their objectives are for this session. And if they spent any experience points, they want to showcase something cool they bought, they can let us know about that. But we will start with Melissa.
All right, so I am playing Sister Nura, and boringly, I have done nothing different. I didn't meet my objective for last time, so I still have the same objective, which is to exalt the rewards of sacrifice in the Emperor's name. So I need to make sure that I actually get that done because I didn't do that last time. And I am currently hoarding XP for reasons, and we'll see where I go with them later. So I am exactly the same as I was before. We will see if I have any particular need to jump from point A to point B and see if that goes any better this time, because that went poorly last time. So
come on now, Melissa. Your characters are amazing jumpers.
It's a theme. It's a theme.
All right, Jeff.
Entertaining jumpers, definitely. Entertaining.
Yes. Yes.
Brother Birk Taloff, I have also not spent any XP. I don't have as much as I want for what I'm planning to get next. I need to get to 30 and I'm only at 24. So I need a few more. So hopefully next time around or whenever we get finished with this next bit, I'll be able to update it. But otherwise, Birk Taloff, Adeptus Mechanicus faction, Electro Priest, full great variety. He is covered in many electus, and his objective this evening is to reminisce about the Forge world that he has visited and compare it to my current location. He is, I think, because he was originated in the Gilead system, it's likely he's only actually been to Evercross, and so that is the only thing that he refers to. So we'll see.
We shall see indeed. And then Ashley.
So I haven't either purchased anything new, just because I'm also hoarding like a little goblin because I have something cool I want, and we'll see if I can do it. But yeah, last time Sister Celeste actually kind of did her thing where she just buffed people, and she's like, "Here's the passion for you. Here's by his will. You can get it, you know." And we'll see if that continues.
I like it. So a quick recap. We took a slight detour last session from the Litanies of Lost for a action-packed train heist where our group of troubleshooters were co-opted by an Inquisitor and asked to steal something from a train. And they hit it hard. They took no prisoners. Sister Nura had some jumping issues, but ultimately everything went well. Wigbert did some weird crab crawling things and murdered people with power blades in his mouth, and all went well. But we did find out that there is a heretic cult that are working potentially with or as part of a smuggling ring. And that was ultimately what the Inquisitor was looking into, is this smuggling ring. So everybody was successful. The Inquisitor was happy. And a couple of weeks have passed before the three of you are called to meet with Helene Veronius, the leader of your troubleshooting organization and part of the Veronius fleet and task force, second in command to her cousin, the leader of the flotilla. You were called to meet in an orbital station above Avacris. So when you get that call, brother Talov, where would you have been at this point? And what would you have been doing for the last couple of weeks?
Well, if we're getting called up to the station, he spends much of his downtime either probably down on Avacris, as he was originally born on one of these stations above Avacris and kind of saw himself moving down to the planet and even beneath the planet to the various like engine warrens and things underneath. So I think that he probably would, if we've had a couple weeks, he might have been kind of touring through some of the internal engines that are like relics left on Avacris at this point. As for him, it's not just like sightseeing; it's almost like pilgrimaging a bit. And so that's probably what he's been doing. And he's just a short hop away from where he needs to go. But that is what I think he might have been doing, because he's very curious about the dark age of technology. Not necessarily too curious, of course, but it is good to be informed.
Omnissiah forfend, but yes,
yes, absolutely.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Sister Nora, where are you when you get this Voxcast transmission requesting your presence on the orbitals above Avacris? And what have you been doing?
So one of the things that Sister Nura had learned kind of in between, kind of our last jobs was that there was a smuggling ring might have some information about the Paul of Trunia that she has been searching for. And we were just on a train with people in a smuggling ring. So she was knocking more heads around and trying to kind of gather some more information about that and see kind of what the overlap might have been between the smuggling ring that might have had some information about this personal goal of hers and the smugglers that we happened to come across. My assumption being that, she got to knock some heads around and land in a similar place where she was before, that this is still a search that she is on and has not yet ended. So I'd like to imagine it was kind of one of those fun little like mid punch that she's got to like retrieve a message kind of thing, like hold it right there, come get the message and come back and like kind of finish her interrogation and then be on her way.
Hello, why don't you give us a cunning test? See if you actually get the information out of
Cunning,
this.
you say?
Yep, cunning. DN4.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Sure. You've got this.
I do not have
Excellent.
this. I have one success.
Okay. So you, as part of your interrogation, I mean, you're a sister of battle. You are imposing and terrifying, and
I am intimidating. I am not cunning.
Very intimidating. So unfortunately, as part of, during these interrogations, you find a lot of people that you're fairly certain has information, but they are so terrified of you and so easily beaten and broken that you're unable to get any solid information out of them. They're literally too afraid of you and the consequences of even speaking with you for you to get anything out of them. That doesn't stop you from trying.
No.
Well,
no. Bones are broken and, faces are smashed and we move on.
The Emperor protects, exactly. Sister Celeste, what have you been doing for the last couple of weeks while after the train heist?
So sort of similar to Sister Nura, but different. She's still on the case of those tarot cards that were getting smuggled out.
Mm-hmm.
Except this time, from the previous intel she gathered, she realized that being a sister of battle is kind of against her. So she is attempting to blend in more. So she actually isn't donning her power armor. And she's been doing a little bit of espionage, trying to see if she could purchase one or where they've been going.
I like it. Let's see how good your disguise is first, and then that'll inform us on how well your next check will be. So it's a deception check. Difficulty 3, because Sisters of Battle, I mean, you have a way of carrying yourself. You have a general look about you that's going to be difficult to hide.
I was trying to find a fun way to invoke my rogue trader keyword.
Oh,
so that was the thought.
I like it. Okay, yeah. Go ahead and give yourself a bonus dice on that.
Sweet. Okay, and you said DN 3?
3.
2 successes.
You have wrath points, but it's pretty early. But you can absolutely go for it if you want.
I still have my objective to pull, so let's keep it fun.
Okay, I dig it.
4 successes.
There you go.
Nice. So you are able to very successfully disguise yourself. You spent enough time with the rogue traders on the flotilla, mixing up with different classes of people as you ministered to them, that you actually got a pretty good feel for what the lay person, the laborer, looks like. So you've managed to put on some pretty heavy laborer's clothes that kind of disguise your frame and your bearing a little bit, and you are down asking these questions. So go ahead and give me a standard difficulty 2 cunning check to see if you can run down any information.
I cannot.
We are not cunning, us sisters, are we?
We're just here to heal some shit and beat some people up.
And you're good at
To
it.
be fair, neither is Birk. So let's hope there's not a lot of those rolls tonight.
I think Justin's our cunning person.
You rolled 3 dice. That's three times what I can do.
Oh,
good. Yeah.
So you're not able. The people you're talking to, I mean, you're very effectively disguised, but what you really get the feeling is that the area you're working these people in, that the community, the markets that you're working through, they just don't know. They don't have the information to give you here. And it's during one of those talks, because you're not really interrogating somebody, you're pumping them for information. You get the Voxcast message to head to one of the orbitals above Avacris.
And I think that's the moment where, because she's had her hair covered because she has that bright platinum white hair. And as she's talking to someone, she kind of pulls it back and it reveals her like horribly marred skin and her platinum white hair. And she just kind of like winks at this person as she walks away, as she answers her Vox.
And you see, literally, as you turn, that person is probably 20 yards away already and still running. So we fade away. We see these shuttles coming up to the orbital, maybe a space elevator coming up with Brother Talav in it. And you are escorted by a couple of the flotilla Scion Tempestuous guards into a briefing room. When you get in there, you see Helene Veronia sitting behind a desk. And she's tapping on a data slate. And she looks up. She's like, "Oh, my troubleshooters, excellent. Please come in. I have got an interesting job for you. Or actually, I've had an interesting job brought to me for you. I'm going to let a new associate brief you on that." And she turns, and at that point, the door slides open, and out walks, in the flesh, the interrogator that you only saw in a hologram before your train heist. So a human, looks like he's about 45 years old with weather-beaten skin. You could definitely tell now in person that he's had some rejuvenate treatments to digress his age. So he could be anywhere from 100 to 200 years old. No real way to tell. He's got medium brown hair with flecks of gray in it, but he's still ramrod straight, clean shaven. He's wearing those glare shades that he was in the hologram, so you can't see his eyes, and he's still dressed in this elaborate naval uniform. He's like, "It's a pleasure to meet you in person. I am Inquisitor Rathborn. I've got an interesting problem that I brought to Mistress Veronius, and she's graciously allowed me to tap on your shoulders again to perhaps provide me a bit of assistance. It involves, or potentially involves, the smuggling ring that we were looking into with that train heist from a couple of weeks ago. By the way, as congratulations are in order. It was a masterful takedown. And on such short notice, you are truly talented operators, which is why I'm here now. But enough of that.
We did our job. Words of praise are extraneous.
Of course, sister. I very well said. And in the Emperor's name, you've cut to the heart of it, as I would hope that you would. You see, we have a potential problem. The Archdomina Vakul, who is the Magos commander of the Forge city of Balaxia, is quietly and covertly looking for a group of mercenaries to find something that she has lost. She's gone out of her way to avoid standard Imperial channels. She's not going through the Administratum. She is not going through any of the local law enforcement. She hasn't gone to the arbiters, and she is actively attempting to avoid any inquisitorial interests. Needless to say, when my people brought me this information, I was immediately determined to find out what it is that she is so desperate to find that she doesn't want us to know about. I did a little bit of initial digging, and very much unexpectedly, I found that there's another Inquisitor looking into this, but from a different angle. One Inquisitor Argyle. I'm not going to say that he should be excommunicado, but he is more of a radical bent. And I am not 100% sure that his interests would fully align with the Emperor's interests in the Gilead system. So what I need a group of trained investigators, trained operatives to go in undercover as Archaeotech scavengers, a band of Archaeotech scavenger mercenaries, to meet with Archdomina Vakul and get to the bottom of what it is that she's hunting for, who has it, how it went missing, and how it ties in with this smuggling ring. You have to get to the answers before Inquisitor Argyle's agents get there. It's imperative that we seize control of this information and we don't allow it to slip back into the shadows. I've already inserted your information, your biomes, your data slates, your false personas into the database in the city of Balaxia. So you should be able to meet with her without too many issues. Now, I mean, she is a Magos, so her command of the data sphere far exceeds my own, but I have other professionals working with me, and I believe she's desperate enough that she won't look too closely at your resumes once you present yourselves. Particularly you, Brother Talav, as a Fulbright priest, someone of the Mechanicum who is willing to undertake this will be of great value to her. Sisters, you're obviously both going to have to go into deep disguise. Sisters of Battle are almost as inexplicable to an operation like this as would be a Space Marine or an Inquisitor. So I do have light power armor, broken and apparently broken and scarred but fully functional that you can use that would be acceptable in a mercenary group. Brother Talov, I expect you'll have to insert yourself almost as a local guide for the rest of these mercenaries. Now, don't worry, V and Wigbert are dealing with another small situation for me, but they will soon meet you on the planet's surface and assist you with your investigation. What are your questions?
Björk looks very disappointed at that, and he says, "That is a pity. I thought they had finally recycled their flesh and made themselves useful."
No, they're currently working for me. If something tragic happens to them, I'm sure that they will go to the corpse starch factory like everyone else.
This Inquisitor Argyle, you say, is radical. Radical is synonymous with heretical. Are we then to purge this one?
No. I say that I would say he runs up close to the radical barrier, but he has not been declared radical by the Inquisition. I just have concerns with some of the way he operates and how some of his missions go dark. I don't believe he is working in the best interests at all times of the Emperor as I see it, and as I have convinced the Veronius family to see it. I think it's in our best interests to ensure that whatever is going on with this smuggling ring is brought into the light instead of hidden deeper in the shadows.
Björk is like having trouble computing, as for him, heretical behavior, it's binary. It either is or it isn't. There is no spectrum. So he's just sort of furrowing his brow. He has no eyes, of course, but he's furrowing his brow. You see his electus kind of going on overdrive as he's trying to calculate. And he goes quiet as he knows this is, I will be honored to serve Magos.
Let's be clear. Don't kill Argyle or his people unless they try to kill you, and then it's open season.
Understood.
Excellent. Any other questions?
And Sister Nura is just sort of looking down at her power armor and looking over to Sister Celeste, and she's just sort of like under her breath, she's just undercover.
Sisters, I know.
I'll help.
I know it's almost heresy to ask you to remove your sacred, sanctified, and anointed armor. But remember, this is for the greater good of the Empire, for the greater good of the Emperor, and as a direct request of the Inquisition, who sits at the Emperor's right hand. You would be doing him a great service by making this sacrifice.
Well, and of course, I have no question in my abilities to survive, even in far inferior light armor, scrapped light armor. And again, she just sort of throws Sister Celeste a look like, what are they expecting us to like put on? But and then just sort of, as she does, just kind of stiffens her back. Sacrifice for the Emperor. Any opportunity to sacrifice for the Emperor. But she just still sort of has that look like she's taking off like fine clothes and putting on like rags or something. It's just like
Björk is staring at you, by the way, because he is bare-chested and has very loose robes from the waist down, and that's it. As you whine and complain, and he just shakes his head and said, "It is a pity the train did not make it easier to recycle this. So the flesh and the complaints that are now emitting from your noise bag
would not have to be suffered by those in this room.
I am quite proud of all of my intact parts. Thank you, brother.
If you continue to perform in the way that you performed when trying to board the train, I do not think your flesh parts will remain intact for a significant period of time.
That is quite the accurate assessment of my performance during our
I have
train
performed the
job.
necessary calculations. I can explain to you the probabilities of how many limbs you will lose in this next mission, if you care to hear them.
We really do
Rattle them
like
off.
each other.
They'll just rattle them off.
As like Zala's just like, we really do perform well together.
Listen, I've been running agents and inquisitorial war bands for a lot longer than you would think by looking at me. And a little bit of infighting, it's good. It brings people together, or it gets rid of the weak links. One or the other.
We have no weak links. We would not work with weak links. And sort of it's like, wait. You, kind of that like, we can, you can't.
Hey, that's why I asked for you. You guys did an amazing job on short notice for me before, so I think you'll have no problem handling this issue.
Have no worry, interrogator. We will serve the Archdomina to the best of our ability, and
Well, remember,
I will ensure the completion of this task and the eradication of any heretics.
excellent. But remember, you're serving the Inquisition. Archdomina Vakul just thinks you're serving her. More than likely, you're going to be serving her up on a plate to the Inquisition at the end of this. But
Perhaps.
we'll see. You never can tell. Well, there's going to be a shuttle waiting for you. I don't want you to go down in a space elevator. You'll take the shuttle down. You'll be meeting with Archdomina Vakul in a one of the lower subway stations. There'll be directions on your data slate. You should have no problem finding it.
Excellent. Thank you.
So as we
Beercles.
go off, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Beercles. It's just like just goes.
So we see the shuttle pulling out of the orbital, and then we hear buried beneath the surface of Avacris's wasteland is an endless warren of colossal machinery. Ceaseless industrial activities without wind or rain to offer cool respite drives the city's temperatures to the limit of human endurance. The sheer scale of Balaxia's foundry forge is barely conceived by its residents, few of whom travel beyond their cult-assigned manufactorum, where they are ordained to live, work, praise the Omnissiah, and perish, only to be recycled as corpse starch. Between the massive industrial centers scraping a sky of iron sheaths, wide transportation conduits ferry raw materials and tech priest retinues between the spires. The theocrats of Balaxia fight a losing battle to catalog every excavated route through the city. For tectonic shifts, mining operations, and political machinations constantly open new tunnels and rediscover old forgotten ones. And this is the city in which you are set to meet Archdomina Vakul. The shuttle lands very near where the secret subway station is that you are going to go to. As it lands, your sensor systems blanket out the area to ensure that your landing and your departure is undetected by the manufactorum's omnipresent servitors and surveillance systems. What would you like to do?
So Sister Nura, when kind of everyone reappears, she's like her initial walk, I'm imagining it to be very awkward, sort of like dog in shoes kind of like initially just sort of getting used to it. And she also, because both she and Sister Celeste have that sort of like platinum hair. And so she has this oddly dyed like red hair where she took sort of this like undercover bit seriously. And so she just kind of comes out kind of looking to see like if she sees sufficiently non-sister of battle at this point.
Is it like screaming red hair, or is it more muted? Or like hot pink?
It's not hot pink, but it's not the dyed like reddish brownish. It's the dyed red.
Okay. Go ahead, give me a deception roll. Okay. Just a difficulty 2. Let's just see how good this disguise is.
Oh man, I am as deceptive as I am cunning, so this should be fun. What did you say the difficulty was? 2. Okay. It's the number of dice I'm rolling, so we'll see. It is a wrath complication and 2 failures.
Okay. So what happens as you get out, and the heat just starts to bake into this dye, and it turns, it streaks weird colors due to the heat. You're not sure how good your disguise is, but you're fairly certain that no one would mistake you for a Sister of Battle looking the way you look at the moment.
Perfect. And she just sort of looks at Sister Celeste, kind of looking for kind of that like,
Imagine like you try walking a couple times and she's like, no, stop. And like you're hunched over weird, you're overcompensating too much. Just be normal. And you're trying to walk normal and it's just not going.
And she's sort of like watching you and then is sort of like walking behind you, like just taking a few. And she like gets it figured out.
Yeah.
And then sort of looks over to Byrrc and it's like, is this what it's like adjusting to an augment? As she sort of like walks awkwardly.
Your hair color is an affectation. It has no true purpose. If you were truly committed, you would have removed hair from your head entirely, for it is unnecessary and will cloud your performance.
That could have been an option. That definitely could have been an option. But this definitely seems like an affront to Sister of Battlehood. No Sister of Battle would ever do this to their hair.
So it is certainly an affront to something. Let us go. And he walks away.
I love beer. You're very near the entrance to this secret subway platform. When you approach it, you see that the door is sealed. Beer, give me a tech check. Difficulty 3.
Sure. All right. 3. All right. There we go. That is 5 successes, 1 shift.
What would you like to? You want to shift that to glory, or do you want more information?
I'll go information this early. Yeah.
You see that the door is sealed, but it will open to your Mechanicum Elect 2 ident code. However, what you do recognize is that there's a redundant and secondary security system that has been retrofitted to this door recently, and they've tried to hide it. But it's going to do a full biome scan and then cross-reference all information against Mechanicum database for redundancy and gene matching. So somebody's trying to make sure whoever's coming through this door is who they say they are.
Do I think so? I know we were provided certain like ident cover, basically covers. That is, do I have any inclination that our covers would be suitable here, or should I try, or would I need to try to figure out a way to shut that down or bypass it for us to get through?
With the shift, I'm going to say that you're a little concerned that the Inquisition's ability to insert information into the data sphere of a Mechanicum city is not going to be adequate. You get the feeling that you'd be better served if you spoof
Okay.
this detection system.
And so he will say, hold. The flesh bags are ineffective at providing proper identification. I shall circumvent that problem now. What would you like me to do for that?
Difficulty 4 tech test.
All right. Here we go. Wrath complication.
Oh gosh.
I will.
One
Yeah.
success.
I will definitely spend a wrath point to reroll, but there's going to be a wrath complication,
Yep.
so that sucks. But let's do that. 4 successes, but got the wrath complication.
Okay. I think with the wrath complication, you're able to link up with the data sphere. That kind of works. Harsh environment. It's kind of going similar to where I was going to go with it. You're able to get in, and you're able to spoof the sensor system so that the uploaded data for you now matches what the sensor system is going to record. But in doing so, when you connect the motive force to this, you get a little bit of a feedback loop as the system resists it. Take 1 point of shock.
All right. Not so bad. Okay.
But you are able to spoof the system, so it is going to read the 3 of you as this Archaeotech scavenger mercenary team.
And then he will turn to them. It is done. And then he will push forward.
Thank.
Or
And she keeps it short because she knows if I say too much, you get annoyed.
Should be 20 feet away. Yeah, I know. He's going to be gone. He's not going to hear it anyway.
So the doors slide open, and this long escalator going down, but it's completely pitch black in here. Of course, it has no effect on Talib because he doesn't rely on his eyes to see, much like most of the Mechanicum have abilities to sense things without their eyes. However, for Sister Nora and Sister Celeste, it is very, very dark. Is there anything you guys want to do to alleviate that, or are you just going to go with it? Or do you have anything to alleviate that?
Yeah, that's what I was like
That's a
looking.
question.
I have things to write with and things to read. I have nothing that would help add any light to this situation.
As you are going through your things, you're going to feel Byrrc next to you. And you're going to feel warmth from his breath as he just says,
As I said, if you would have replaced those jelly, circular, spherical things in your sockets with something more capable, this would not be an issue now. You can grab onto me and I shall lead, at least.
And she was half listening. And so like she was still upset about the whole like you should have shaved your head thing. And so she's about to say like, what would shaving my head have had to do with? Oh, you meant my eyes. Oh, okay. Yes. And she'll sort of just put her hand out and she'll like move Sister Celeste over to like the other side.
Yeah,
Sister
Celeste
has
does
light.
have no. I don't know if she has a light, but at least I do have one augmented eye.
Mhm.
Though that one's augur, so it gives me +1 bonus die to sight-based awareness test.
I think that would kind of work. So I mean, you're
Okay,
getting
cool.
some kind of like light intensifying, maybe
It's not
some
great, but a little
maybe
bit.
some very basic infrared light intensifying. So it's not perfect vision, but you're able to make out the general environment around you as the escalator goes down. And then right as it gets to the bottom, the floodlights come up on the subway station, and you're momentarily blinded by the brightness of the light. But as your eyes adjust, you realize it's actually not that bright, but it's significantly brighter than the deep darkness that you were in. And standing not 10 feet in front of you is not Archdomina Vakul. You instead see what can only be described as a servitor. I mean, it's at one point was human. You can tell that much by its basic frame, but its arms have been replaced by mechanical claws, and most of the back half of its skull is taken away, and there's sort of a plexiglass covering and electrodes sticking into its brain, and its lower jaw has been replaced with a mechanical jaw that's just broken open and wired open, and inside is like a little Vox transmitter. And it's just standing there completely still.
Nura sort of whispers to Tella, what was our cover?
And as soon as you whisper,
Okay.
the servitor's back starts to flicker, and lights begin to go up and down its spinal column, and you see some lights flickering in the electrodes in its brain, and then its eyes glow slightly, kind of a sickly green color. And then the Vox caster crackles, and you hear white noise and static coming out of it. Is this thing work? Yeah. I am Archdomina Vakul. She's saying this in very broken Low Gothic, obviously not the language she prefers to use. Byrrc, you know that more than likely she only communicates in lingua technis, probably for the last century, but she's making an effort here. I have cross-checked your credentials, and you will perform the task I have for you adequately if we can come to an accommodation.
What are your terms for this accommodation?
I will give each member of your team, the equivalent in game terms, 4 wealth each. So a year's worth of income, basically. And if you're able to complete the mission that I have to set for you, would this be agreeable to you?
The terms of the mission will determine whether the value you have placed on our completion of it is accurate or inaccurate. Until such time as those details are provided, we cannot be objective in our evaluation of your accommodation.
Damn servant, indeed. Well spoken, brother. 3 days ago, one of my secret facilities was attacked, and a status coffin containing something of great value was stolen from the tech crypt. My own attempts to quietly apprehend the thieves have failed. I want you to find and return the status coffin undamaged.
Do you have suspects of employees who might have had history that they might do such a thing?
Indeed. The list of suspects is long. Other foundry forges resent Balaxia's ascension and might sabotage my operations out of jealousy. Recently, the Magi Masters of the Secutari of Corridor, the Titan Guards, who claim to speak with the authority of the absent Titan Legion, have been rattling their sabers. Either of these factions are possibly responsible. There is a third possibility. The stolen status coffin does not belong to me, but I have been looking after it for some very influential and very unforgiving associates who shall remain nameless. They're unaware that the stasis coffin was stolen, and it's important that I keep it that way. But they may have enemies who have stolen it from them. What other questions do you have?
Who was last to see this stasis coffin?
That would be best looked into by you. The tech crypt where the stasis coffin was stolen from is still under control by Skitari Rangers. No one has entered it. That would be where I suggest you begin your investigation if you choose to accept the mission.
So, Aaron, are these Skitari Rangers, are they under her?
Yes, they're her.
Okay.
They're her guard.
So then he'll ask.
I mean, technically, they work for Biloxia, the Forge Foundry city,
Right.
but she is the Magos of it, so she's
Right.
the ruler of the city. So yeah.
Are the Skitari Rangers aware of our arrival? Will they be pliant and open with information?
They have been ordered to provide what assistance they can.
Understood.
He'll look over to the other two, to Nura and Celeste, and wait for. He won't say their names, of course, but he will look over towards them and see if they have any questions.
Remember, the status coffin is not to be opened under any circumstances.
Confirmed.
Duh.
Given the additional information, your accommodations are acceptable, but we reserve the right for additional negotiation depending upon the outcome in the additional obstacles that we might need to overcome, since you are unaware of what the which of the three dangers it could possibly be.
Acceptable. I will write within the contract a renegotiation clause for up to a 50% increase per agent in the event that factors complicate the retrieval to the point where renegotiation is warranted.
Confirmed.
And then
We
he'll
will
look
take no
again.
more of your time.
And at that, the servitor stops speaking, pivots, walks over to a reclamation grinder, and crawls into it as the grinder starts to close and just shreds this human cyborg down to component parts. And then
And
your
Nura
data
just sort
slate.
of looks at Beric. Don't get any ideas.
I would not waste the metal as it is done.
And at that point, your data slates chime with the contract information and the required counter signatures. And then once you have signed off on this, you receive a download of directions to the tech crypt, which is within the city proper.
Okay. Beer will waste no
Excellent.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you make your way into the city, you're on these basically moving sidewalks and through these small transport tunnels. You're able to blend in with the unwashed masses of the tech adepts and manufactorum workers. It takes you about an hour and a half, even with some of the mass transit, to get to the crypt, the tech crypt itself. As you approach, you can see that it's modest in size compared to the production fortresses on either side of it, blanketed in a censer smoke by cherubs flying around the tech crypt with their sensors continuously letting off this scented smoke.
Okay.
Shall we?
I mean, we're supposed to be here, so Birk will move forward with clear purpose and will not waver from that, and will kind of walk directly towards it, looking for any signs of what Skitarii range, like there's a Skitarii ranger or anything like that that's on that's in charge. Like if there's a specific like lieutenant or captain.
So you go in the main doors, and the first area is just sort of an atrium, and you see a tech priest in there, and you probably know this, Birk, already, but the sisters might not know that a tech crypt is the resting place for revered Mechanicus priests. It's basically like a tomb. In addition, the most unique augmetics of these revered tech priests are preserved for study and worship. And you see these in like display cases. In one display case, you just see a skull with these augmetic eyes, these amazing augmetic eyes, and they're still wired up and moving and watching you as you go along. And then in the next is this very large case with kind of basically a treadmill in it, and you see a set of this amazing. It's a quad set. It almost looks like 4 spider legs off of a chassis, and you see this dead flesh torso being preserved as these spider leg augmetics just continuously run on this treadmill. And these sorts of things are throughout this atrium. Birk, you see them as holy representations of the Omnissiah. Sister Nura, Sister Celeste, when you see these grotesqueries, what are your thoughts?
Nura just sort of looks at Celeste. To what purpose?
And she thinks on it. And Celeste thinks this is like weirdly beautiful because she herself was crippled. She lost her legs, and now she has found new use again for the Emperor with her augmented legs. And so she's looking at these spider legs that are running, and it's displaying, and she doesn't really have the proper words for it, but she just tells you it's beautiful.
They are not. And like Sister Nura is sort of used to the idea of like the physical body requires effort and maintenance and those types of things, and this being tech, doing something that doesn't seem to serve a function seems a bit superfluous to her. And so she's just giving Celeste this kind
Even in death, they serve the Emperor.
How are they serving? How is this service? There is no risk. There is no sacrifice here. This is mechanical circle.
How else would they know how it has connected to the body without study?
I see. This is
research. I could have easily have lost my service to the Emperor, but I have found new service as she kind of broadcasts her eye to you. It's not the end of things. And then she'll just follow after Talov.
The tech priest is approaching you, and in binary chatters out to you, Brother Talov. How may I assist you, brother? Do you come here to pay respects to one of the revered tech priests?
So just to clarify before I answer, this is for Jeff. So this specific tech priest would be aware that we've been sent here by...
He may not know you've been...
Okay.
He might not know you've been sent here at this point, but
okay.
I mean, if you question him about it, he would probably be able to verify it.
Okay, so Birk will pay due respect, and so something to the effect of,
We are not here to worship, although respect shall be given in all due course. We are here to converse with a squadron of Skitari Rangers. We have been led to believe they remain on the premises.
And he responds in binary, yes, brother. You will take the elevator down to the lowest sub-basement where the vault is. The maniple of Skitari Rangers are there, and they still control the crime scene.
Thank you.
And at that, the elevator doors, you didn't even realize there was an elevator there, but the part of the wall slides open and you see an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
The elevator has already been programmed to take you to the correct floor.
Blessed you and your efficiency.
And he will step onto the elevator.
Now, of course, all that happened in binary, so Sister Nura and Sister Celeste have no idea what's going on.
You just see him getting on an elevator.
When Bjork just kind of like nods, that's when Celeste adds "thank you" as she also follows.
And Nura is just sort of like still trying to wrap her head around Sister Celeste's reaction, and then realizes that there's a whole other thing that was happening that she was completely unaware of. And she's just like, she's not enjoying life at the moment right now. Like, she's just not like, this is not her element at the moment. And so she's just sort of looks around and just kind of like comes behind Sister Celeste.
And the moment your body passes into the elevator door quickly shuts and the elevator drops. Not horribly fast, but fast enough that your stomach moves up into your chest for a moment. And then quickly decelerates and gently stops. And the door opens. And right in front of the elevator door as it opens, you see this group of Skitari Rangers. And there's one who is, the Skitari directly in front of you, Beric, is clearly still obviously female. She still has enough biological parts that she is clearly female. Her has augmented eyes. Her hair has been replaced with sort of cabling, and she has a couple of macandrites coming off, and her lower forearms are both cybernetic. But the rest of her looks mostly biologic. What are you doing here?
Bjork, what would her like honorific, or what would her like rank be?
She would be a Skitari lieutenant.
Okay.
Lieutenant, we are here for a debrief on the crime that has been committed.
By whose orders?
And at this point, because they're specifically under Archdomina Vakul's, like he will mention her.
Like, we've been sent here by Archdomino Vakul on a special assignment. Please provide debrief.
Can you confirm this?
Did she give us anything to confirm? I don't remember.
We got a contract.
Okay. That's true. Yeah. So he will kind of provide a summary of contract.
She scans it. She goes, acceptable. I am Lieutenant Tango Mike. Ask your questions.
Please provide efficient summary of crime, starting with notification of crime, suspected individuals who might have perpetrated such crime, and what your current processes are for investigation into that criminal activity, what leads you have, who you have interrogated, etc.
You see her stutter for a second and kind of her head cocks a couple of times. She's like, there's no clear evidence of a crime. Several of the personnel who routinely work in the vault have not returned to work. We're unaware of any other issue. Now, she's saying this, but you can look around the room and you see blood stains all over the floor. And you see off to one corner stacks of body bags that are clearly full. And you can see in another part where there's these giant hoses and clamps and connectors that were obviously providing some sort of power and perhaps other maybe even nutrients or something to what you expect is the status coffin that's missing. And you can see drag marks across the floor where it was clearly moved out.
Mhm.
Celeste looks to Byrrc and nods towards the body bags. I presume I will check the flesh.
He'll look at you, like, again, vacant black sockets, no eyes.
Yeah,
But you can
yeah.
tell he's just like, why are you interrupting me? It's like you could tell that's the face. So he turns back and he replaces, and everything he said initially to the ranger, he replaces, except he restates exactly as he said it before, except he replaces the word crime with incident.
There has been no, well, the only recorded incident is that multiple personnel who work within the vault have been reassigned to other duties. The facility is operating at peak efficiency.
Please provide a list of these other employees and to where they have been reassigned, and please provide a full and detailed list of the individuals that make up the piles and bags of flesh in over yonder. And as he kind of points and nods in the direction.
I'm unaware of any bodies in bags. However, I can give you a full accounting of all personnel who were reassigned. And she rattles off this list of names that appear on your data slate.
Okay.
And at that, Neuro like walks over to one of the bags, opens the body bag,
and it smells. This person is died horribly. Even, I mean, you can see like it's got oil and bile and blood and other some sort of like proto blood, obviously a mechanicum design covering the bodies. It's several large massive wounds. It looks like it got hit by a bolter perhaps. It's got clear augmetics running through its body, but they've been utterly destroyed.
So Sister Nura is just going to sort of like heft this body bag in front of this and just sort of point at it and just say, identify.
Identify what?
Identify the individual that is deceased inside this bag, and just visible sort of frustration.
I see damaged augmetics and biomaterial for recycling.
At this point, Byrrc wants to, if he can, while Sister Nura is doing that, can he kind of try to do some kind of scan or tech assessment? Because I'm definitely not trying to figure out if she's lying. I'm trying to figure out if she has been altered or manipulated in some particular way.
Yeah.
Is what I'm looking for.
You can. Give me a difficulty 4 tech test.
Okay. All right. Here we go. That is 6 successes with a Wrath critical and 1 shift possible. So I guess extra information if that's possible.
So I would say you as you sync up with her and you're communicating through binary, you push into some of her cortical systems, and it is not that she has been altered, but there has been a command placed into her primary short-term memory to disavow any information about what happened here in the vault, and she's not even aware of it. It's like just tripping up, like she's unable to process this short-term memory information.
Yeah, that's what I was suspecting. Okay, all right. So then he will turn to Nora and Celeste, and we have gathered a sufficient amount of information
We should no longer waste Lieutenant Tango's time.
I will tell you this now. We have increased security in the vicinity due to unexpected gang violence. And she looks confused as she's saying this, almost as if she's being prompted to say it without realizing why.
Okay.
Tech ganger violence in the sector has increased. And again, she gets that look on her face like she's not sure where it's coming from.
Is that accurate though? Is there any way that Birk could
you could sink into
confirm?
the data sphere. Yeah, just be a difficulty 2 tech test to sink into the data sphere and pull up information on that.
Yeah, so just to confirm to see if that's actually accurate or if it's just kind of like a BS story. Oh man. That's 9 successes.
Wow. And a wrath critical.
And 3 shifts possible.
Okay.
You know all the things that are
extra
happening
information
here.
for 1, and I'll put 2 in glory.
I like it. Yes. You're able, I mean, it's all over the place throughout several, it's mainly in the Skitari, because that's how you did so well. You get into the Skitari database where they're tracking tech gang activity and assaults against the servants of the Omnissiah, theft of technology, and there has been a significant uptick in this area of Balaxia in the last 20 cycles.
Okay. So then Birk will just kind of confirm, I think, with Tango. I know she even though she's demonstrating concern,
As you were then, Lieutenant. It seems you have duties to attend to, as do we.
Thank you. Sister Celeste, were you looking at any of the other bodies?
Yeah, I'd say she would have been looking at them to see if anything stands out.
Okay. Give me either a difficulty 3 Medicaid test or a difficulty 4 Scholar or Tech test. Your choice.
Let's try Medicaid. 4 successes, 1 wrath critical.
All right. So you're looking at the bodies, and that one that you saw definitely they were killed with a bolter fire, but the majority of the bodies were killed with a very interesting burn pattern that you've seen before. In fact, you've seen it very often. You can tell that this looks like the use of an electro leech staff to absorb the bioelectricity out of a human body, very similar to what you've seen Brother Talib use when he enters into combat. You would say the vast majority of these people were killed by Fulgurite electro priests.
I like to imagine Nura just keeps like hefting bodies over and just sort of like shoving them at you because she's just so irritated with them, like with TM and just how unhelpful they were. And so it's just like, for this, I need your brain.
And you could give me, any of you can so you've got that list of personnel that have been reassigned. You can give me either a difficulty 4 Scholar check or Tech check as you're going through these bodies to see if you can identify them against the list. Anybody or everybody can give it a shot. I mean, you guys are all working.
Yeah,
together.
I'll give it a go. I'll do
TN3?
it. Yeah.
TN4 Scholar or Tech test because they've been kind of messed up, and somebody's tried to scrub their information.
4 successes, Tech or Scholar, excuse me.
Okay. So
Only
Celeste,
3 for Nura.
as you're looking and you're cross-referencing this list, you find a corresponding body to everyone on this list, except for one. The name Biren Imiga, who is a tech adept. His name is on the list of personnel that's been reassigned, but there's no corresponding body here.
Interesting. Where does it say that he's been reassigned to?
There's no information on where he's been reassigned to, but if somebody wants to do a check into his background, you might be able to find out more about who he is or what he was doing here.
Is there a way for Talov to check for the signature of the person who put the command order?
Sure.
Is that a thing we could do, or because she'll come over to Talov and she'll show him the slate and point to the name. No body.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there any? Okay, so so there's no body, but we're trying to figure out whether he's reassigned. I wasn't following all of that.
Well, so he was. So that whole list of names were technically reassigned.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what Tango Mike said, is that all these personnel have been reassigned.
Right.
All of the people who have been reassigned are dead and in body bags, except for this one guy. So you could dig deeper into the transfer order to try to find out more information.
And we know that these other people died using a similar weapon to what you use.
So clearly they died justifiably.
Clearly.
She just kind of smiles. He could have done it.
If he did it and he has the weapon of my holy order, then clearly there is good reason. But I suppose we should investigate further. We have many jobs apparently to do.
And so, yeah, I mean, I guess he'll look more into the transfer order, see if he can figure out where this beer and Merigan.
Give me a difficulty 5 tech test.
Oh boy, getting up there now. Okay. I'm gonna. I'll wrath it up, and I will use a glory.
Nice.
So I still don't think there's a way to actually automate the glory usage. So
I don't think so either.
Well, unless I roll a 6, it doesn't matter. No, no good. No dice.
Okay. So
did it only reroll 1 though? Never mind. Yeah,
no, roll them all.
So you're trying to get into this transfer order, and you're not able to get any more information about who issued the transfer order or who was, where they were being transferred to, supposedly. I mean, obviously they weren't being transferred anywhere because they're dead. The only bit of information you're able to get out of this when you're looking specifically into this guy's name, into Baron Amiga's name, is that he was the tech adept. He's a junior tech adept who was assigned to keep the stasis coffin operational. That's all the information you're able to glean from the transfer order.
Beric will relay that, theorizing perhaps that whoever perpetrated this, whatever honorable Fulbright figures perpetrated this holy expulsion of heresy, likely kept the tech adept alive, perhaps because they wanted to keep the status coffin functioning. At least that's Beric's theory at this point, but maybe not.
So you've got some information on a missing tech adept, some limited information on him that may lead somewhere. You've got the possible lead into the underworld of Biloxia and the tech gangers who may be responsible in some way. And then you've got the potential lead into the Fulbright electro priests, who you, Brother Talov, would know must be part of the Church of Dwindling Existence. That the chapel for that is near Biloxia's city limits, but it's the only electro priest chapel in Biloxia. So you would think that if it's electro priests involved with this, they must be have some kind of connection with the church.
And that is specifically Fulgray. It's not those jackass
It's
Corpsicari, right? Okay.
Yep, it's Fulgray.
Okay. So like he'll turn to the sisters. He'll be like, "We could visit the temple of my order. We could speak with the tech adept in the upstairs. Perhaps they have a location for where this Bearded Amiga might be outside of their assignment here. Do you have any other ideas?"
Everything that we can from this. And Nora's just sort of looking annoyed at the one that just kept spewing false information. And then she's like schlepped all of these bodies for Sister Celeste, and she sort of looks around and she's like, I'm done here. That's
so just to clarify, so the coffin was dragged. Do those drag marks stop anywhere?
To the elevator. It was taken into the elevator.
Got it. Okay. So there wasn't like an alternate. Got it. Okay.
Doesn't appear to be. Only one way in and one way out of this vault, it looks like.
We should speak with the tech adept on the way out and see if there is any additional information they can provide. If there were any surveillance equipment that perhaps have seen those who have physically removed the status coffin.
I wonder. Do you think there's logs for the elevator?
Logs?
He said it was programmed for us to go down.
Yes, we can inquire. Do you have anything to contribute, Sister Nara? Or not Sister Nara, whatever we're calling you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to contribute?
We should come up with what are our names?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was thinking.
We should do Three's Company. I still think we should do Three's Company.
I have been assisting. I'm not sure what the name is going to be, but I have been providing physical assistance during the examination of the bodies. And she just sort of like waits by the door for us to go to the next place. She's like,
I'd like to imagine you weren't actually, though. Like, you were taking the ones I discarded that I finished with, and then we're just terrorizing TM with them.
So sort of like she's been busy, but whether she's actually been helping is up for discussion.
Mm-hmm. Tango Mike just shakes her head as you walk by. And binary chatters at Brother Talib. I feel greatly for the sacrifice you must make to work with flesh bags.
Mm-hmm. And he'll just communicate back.
The Omnissiah be praised. My sacrifice is but small compared.
And then we'll get back on the elevator.
Elevator up, door slides open, and the tech priest is there.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just ask a couple questions like about elevator logs, whether there's any security footage of some kind, if there's anything that they got visually or even audibly, and if they have any basically any personnel information about Biren Amiga that we might be able to. Also, I guess one other question we would probably ask is if there are any disciples from the Fulgray Temple that have visited recently to pay respects of some kind.
Absolutely. So he goes, brother, you may access the security system to check the elevator logs and all of the security feeds. They are available to you. On to your question, there have been Fulgray priests who have visited to pay respects to the fallen tech priests and praise the augmetics about us in service to the motive force. And he shows you a panel. It was kind of hidden when you came in, but it's like one of the very first models of your Electus staff is there. And he's like, many come to pay homage and worship at one of the first of the staves.
And Birk will take a moment. He'll catch Elect 2, will get a little brighter as he is in kind of awe and reverence of the of sort of like like you said, the earliest, one of the early models of this, essentially, like the early adopter who got to use that. Birk is probably a bit excited. Okay.
And then he does say, while you are looking at the security feeds, I can pull up the subdermal implant information for Baron Amiga and provide you with his identification Elect2 so you can track him if his reassignment was fraudulent.
Birk will assent and approve.
Okay.
So
as you...
Now, go ahead. Good.
I was just going to say, if you're going to get into the security system, it's just a simple DN3 tech test to pull up the elevator logs and security feeds.
All right. 5 successes this time. Shift. I got
shift.
1 shift, extra info, whatever, if that's available.
The logs and security feeds have been completely scrubbed. There's no information whatsoever. And it was expertly done, but with your deep connection to the data sphere, you're actually able, because of your recent time with her, you're able to decipher the digital fingerprints of the Archdomina herself as being ultimately responsible for wiping the security feed and elevators. You think probably it's to hide the fact that the stasis coffin was stolen from whoever the actual owner is.
Okay, he will not verbalize that until we're out of detection of tech priests and various other folks on here. Okay, and you said
he provides you the identification Elect2 for Baron Amiga, so you can use that to trace him through the data sphere.
Okay. He'll turn to the sisters to see if they have any ideas.
Nura was looking over Barrick's shoulder because they're like just looking at camera feed, and she's just sort of looking over the shoulder and saying, "That is not useful. There is nothing there."
You are wrong. It is very useful. The fact that there is nothing there does not mean it is not useful. The fact that there is nothing there, but yet somebody took very careful aims to delete it. And not only that, I am able to determine possibly who it was that did such a thing. All of that is useful. Perhaps you should stop thinking so linearly and start thinking more broadly. But this is not something you are capable of doing so with such a meatbag brain inside of your useless bone skull. Anyhow.
There's no one on the video.
While they're doing that.
Like almost like this is like cover for the person that's listening. There's no one on the video. There's no one there.
While they're doing that, Celeste approaches the priest. Do you have a list of everyone who has access to visit that lowest chamber?
The lowest, the vault chamber. Yes. I do. By what authority do you request this information?
The Archdomina herself, of course.
May I have a copy? May you provide a copy of this contract so that when questioned about this, I will be able to provide this as additional information for my answer?
That should be suitable. It would be her asking about it.
Potentially. The vault not only houses the Domina's goods, there are other areas of the vault that are the responsibility of other senior tech adepts and magoses. But yes, and he provides you a list of personnel who have direct access. So it's all of the names on that all the names of the people in the body bags had access to the vaults. Baron Amiga, and then there's the Domina, and another 4 Magoses have access to the vault because they had things stored within the vault, including one of them who was who she alluded to, the Domina alluded to, might be one of the personnel responsible, or at least an agent of one of the personnel responsible. And that is a Magos from the Secutari, who are responsible for the Titan, the Legion of Titans.
And she'll ask if any of these additional people have been here the date that this when this event happened.
And you see the tech priest goes, no one visited the vault. No one was here on the day that the alleged break-in. And as he's speaking to you, his eyes start to flutter a little bit. And he goes, can you rephrase your question?
And then she'll state explicitly, did any of these people visit this location during the hours of this hour and this hour? She doesn't mention any stolen goods, break-in, or anything like that, just an hour time frame.
He goes, on the day in question, in the times you have proposed, there was no one within the facility.
And does he have that weird eye flicker thing again?
He does.
She's gonna call over Talov.
He will be you.
And then instead of like actually saying her questions to you, she's just gonna send you like through comms a compromised question mark about referring to the techno priest.
Yeah, I mean this isn't at all surprising for Dalov. Like, so if we're just doing basic messaging, he'll probably just verbalize, "Please cease with redundant information." Yeah, he'll just say that directly out loud to you, Sister's Love. Okay, and then, I mean, at that point, I mean, Barrick's ready to go, I think. To be honest, like, I think if we have the data for Beer and Amiga, if we know that some of the Fulgurite folk were here, if we know that Secutari Magos might have had access, like, I think we have, I don't know, I think we might have everything we can get right now from this place. Especially since, like, they're all kind of, I don't think we're going to get any logs, and all that kind of stuff is basically gone.
So where would you like to go?
Ashley.
Gotcha. So Celeste will thank the techno priest for the thing and mentions Baron underneath her breath to like lead him to believe like that's who we're paying more attention to, not those other names. And then she'll leave with the rest of the group.
And as you go to leave, he goes, the Omnissiah's blessing on you.
And we'll continue to go. Outside, like, Byrrc will go ahead and fill in the stuff that he was thinking, that likely the Archdomina herself is responsible for covering all of this, making sure that nothing can be seen. Everyone within that place is more than likely compromised in one manner or another, and not only are the people compromised, but the tech was in there, which isn't to say that we don't have leads to follow. We could speak with the Fulgurite priests, the temple. We could continue to try to seek out this Baron Amiga. So I think one of those two probably would make the most sense right now.
Well, and if we assume that this technology, this vaunted technology has been compromised ever so much as to be considered almost useless, is there even a point to tracking this Baron Amiga if we assume that all of the technology that is presented to us has been messed with, as it were?
Due diligence.
Yeah, just make sure he's not with it, as he's the person who's there to maintain it.
And
It is
she's
certainly possible
she's
it was
irritated
planted.
because she just like spent all of her time before the job like interrogating people and not getting anything that she wanted, and now on the job we're interrogating people and we're getting bullshit answers. So she's just like a bit miffed at this particular point. Okay.
Well,
perhaps we could visit the Fulbright Temple, and you could express your frustrations and disdain. I'm sure they will be most appreciative of your complaints.
Away we go.
So we're going to head to the chapel.
Yeah, I think that's what Bert wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. So you head towards the outskirts of Balaxia to the Church of the Dwindling Existence. You get close. There's some major construction areas near it, but you're able to get into the church. As you approach, Beric, you've been here before. This is not anything new to you. You know that that this home to the Electro priests, the devotees of the motive force, as the machine gods, part of the machine gods trinity, are very devout. And as you move towards the doors, the electus on your body light up, and the doors to this large chapel slide open, and you feel the welcoming pitch darkness and cool air that is the home for the Fulbright priest. You have no need for light, no need for physical comfort, but it is oppressively dark. Much like the other location was for Sisters Nura and Sister Celeste. As you move into this darkness, Beric, you can sense another one of your brothers, an Electro priest, before you. And as you come closer, his electus begin to light up in this coruscating pattern of recognition. And you feel this binary chatter coming off of him as he identifies himself to you.
And Beric will... See, this is where I'm not sure. So if I've been here before, I feel like they would know Beric, even though we're supposed to be under...
Yeah, No, he's definitely going to recognize you.
Yeah. So I don't think Beric would be deceptive. So I think Beric will communicate who he is. He will kind of reciprocate. He'll reciprocate with honesty. Like, I think that's all he would do.
And you get back through binary. What is your purpose here, brother? To worship, or do you have a secondary area of concern?
And then Beric will communicate that
The Omnissiah has guided me here today. I must speak with one of the senior priests, whoever is available for discussion. A incident has arisen that concerns the Fulbright Chapel.
Query, what incident do you refer to?
So then, is there a name other than Tech Crypt? I know it was a Tech Crypt, but is there any other like specific, like proper name associated with it or anything?
Yeah, you can just go with Tech Crypt.
Okay,
Fine.
Yeah. So
The Tech Crypt within the Force City has been assaulted. A theft has been perpetrated.
And as soon as you say that, he sends off another burst of binary deeper into the chapel, and then you feel the binary coding moving between him and someone else, and he responds back to you and lingua techna and says that the High Luminen Osifa will see you in her office. And at that point, these sections of the floor light up with this kind of soft blue light to allow Sister Nura and Sister Celeste to see better. And basically the pathway lights up heading back towards the office of High Luminen Osifa.
Okay. He will thank the brother for his time and follow and kind of lead off in that direction, hoping that the sisters
I imagine we were like kind of awkwardly just like again at your elbows while you're having this conversation.
This is Janet. This is Chrissy. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jack, Jack was a tripper. Jack Tripper. I
God,
aged
we're
myself
dating
so
ourselves.
badly.
I'm doing it too. I know.
Yeah, we're
I know
good.
the show.
We figured it out in chat.
I actually had to Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. It's all right.
It's all right. It's okay. As you move down this lighted corridor, it leads to a door that immediately slides open, and you go into this very Spartan chamber made of engraved stone, but it's fully lit. So obviously, she anticipates others, not of your calling, being with you. And you see this woman with golden skin that's rippling with potential energy, but grounded by this incredibly ornate electro leech staff that's capped with a sharpened pick in her hand. She goes, "How may I help you, Brother Talov?"
Hi, Luminen. Thank you for agreeing to see me and my compatriots today. We have a task that we have been put on, and it concerns, it seems, the chapel. The tech crypt on the other side, the Forge City, has recently suffered a burglary that has resulted in the deaths of several tech adepts and other staff. And from modest investigation of the corpses, we have deduced that electro leech thefts were the murder weapons, the killing blows. Now, I am in no way accusing anyone within the chapel of wrongdoing. I am merely trying to find enlightenment as to the motivation behind such an act.
Oh, indeed, brother. I will tell you what I know. First and foremost, it was electro priests. I sent them to undertake this mission.
Of course.
I was notified by the Secretary of the Legio Caruthos about this tech crypt and this stasis coffin in its bowels and the obscene amount of energy that was being siphoned away from the holy Omnissiah and the great forge city of Balaxia to keep this one stasis coffin intact. Unbelievably irresponsible misuse of energy at a time when the Gilead system's resources have been pushed to the limit. So, I ordered my priests to attack the tech crypt and to disconnect that abomination from the Omnissiah's power grid. And if the Archdomina has a problem with that, she can interface with me at the temple, and we will let the Omnissiah judge whose logic is purer.
Byrrk has been nodding the whole time in complete and utter agreement.
I thank you for enlightening me. I assumed there was a reasonable explanation. It seems as though you and the brothers and sisters within the temple have done a great service to the Omnissiah these days.
Indeed. It was unfortunate that the guards had to be killed, but their biological components will serve as corpse starch, and their augmentations, minor such that they were, shall be recycled and returned to the favor of the Omnissiah.
They will find purpose, yes. Might I ask a question?
Indeed, brother.
What has become of this status coffin?
Well, the Secretary put me in charge with a group of tech gangers called the Hardwares. They're distinguished, you may know, by their blood-red cybernetic arms. They were hired as cannon fodder to move the stasis coffin out of the tech crypt after disconnecting it for the blasphemy of wasting energy. It is my understanding that the Hardwares did remove the stasis coffin. Of course, the Secretary called and wanted the stasis coffin returned to them, but that was not my concern. I do not care what happened to the stasis coffin as long as it is no longer draining the power of the Omnissiah. It is my understanding that the hardwares made off with it themselves. Of course, the Secutari were unamused by this turn of events, but again, if they fail to accept the logic, they can debate it with the Omnissiah themselves.
Of course. Hi, Luminen. Another query. Do you know of where these hardware tech gangers might have taken the status coffin? I fear they will attempt to reinitialize it elsewhere. And although your dominion is here within the Great Forge City, my travels take me to many places. And my concern is that another city will suffer a similar fate. And this is not something that I can stand.
That is a reasonable concern, for we must serve the Omnissiah's interests here and everywhere. However, I do not know how to contact the hardwares or where they may be. However, I can arrange contact for you with the Secutari, who were the ones who provided me access to the hardwares. They may have information about this tech gang that I do not.
We will be most grateful. Thank you,
And
Heidelman.
a screech of binary comes across your data slate, and you have been given access to the Secutari and an appointment to meet with them, with the Secutari.
Okay. Beric has literally no questions, and we'll say, like, we'll at this point very respectfully,
We thank you for your time. May the Omnissiah bless you.
and he will like very reverently start to back out of the room unless Sister Nura or Sister Celeste, aka Chrissy and Janet, wants to embarrass him.
And in all fairness, all the two of you heard was this screeching chatter between the two of them. So you have no real idea what just transpired. But she does look at you, and she nods at you as Brother Talib starts to withdraw.
Yeah, as he starts to walk away, I think we've gotten kind of used to it. Celeste does her usual. She nods, thank you, and leaves. Praises, the Emperor Omnissiah.
I would like to imagine that, like, the two of us were just sort of back there, kind of doing that thing that you do where you sort of like make up what you think people are saying when you have no idea what they're saying. So
you're like Mystery Science Theater 3000 guy.
Quietly, like in the back, just sort of like having this very native conversation. Like, oh yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I am not sure that I agree with what you are saying. We're just sort of like quietly bouncing back and forth.
Didn't hear you, because that's blasphemy right there. That's blasphemy.
Oh, good times. So you withdraw from the chapel with, armed with new information, or at least Brother Talib is. What do you do?
Byrrc, by the way, will not share it. He will just go towards whatever transit they have that's easily accessible, so they can get to the Secutari in time for the appointment that's been set.
Okay.
Well, actually, do we have a lot of time? Is it a lengthy amount of time before that appointment?
You've got about 4 hours, and it's fairly close. I mean, public transportation will get you there within 30 minutes, so you've got some time.
If that's the case, then Byrrc will go ahead and he will divulge everything that he learned, including that we have an appointment to meet with the Secutari to learn more about the hardware tech gangers and where they might have taken the status coffin. And then he will look at Sister Nura.
And in the time in which I acquired all of that information, what have you produced?
We ensured that no one have attacked you. Clearly, your safety suggests our success.
That chapel was
Do you have
filled.
bruises? Have you been attacked? No, we have been successful.
That chapel was filled with brothers and sisters of the Fulbright Order. You stood within the halls at their whim. Do not mistake, you are both very powerful, but you cannot stand in the face of an entire chapel.
Sure.
Of folks,
Basically, of like you're not facing off against like a whole chapel of Brother Tarek, especially in that little outfit you've got on. It'll take you out so fast. A couple of them might go down. Don't get me wrong, but we're okay with that.
And so Nura's like, so she's sort of following so they took the thing, and then they took the thing from the thing, and then now they don't know where the thing is. And she's just sort of like tracking the whole, like, where did the body go?
And her great and esteemed wisdom as provided by the Messiah protected the Fort City from an expenditure of the Messiah's energy, as she is wont to do, and blessed be she to do such a thing.
So we're unplugging the energy vampires so that they do not continue to use energy? Is that what all of this was about?
You have a way with your words. Wait, you're Chrissy.
Yes. I'm Chrissy, yeah.
So while this conversation is going on, you guys have been in transport, transiting to the Titan fortress of Corridor, which is a large mammoth pyramid-like structure. When you enter it, it's actually direct transport into it. The tube slides open, and you walk out into basically a receiving room, and you see another tech adept approaching you. And he has the crest on of the Titan Legion. How may I assist you, brother?
And Byrrc, again, wasting no time, will explain the situation, the appointment, the time, etc., with optimal efficiency.
Very difficult to schedule. I know that you have an appointment. Give me a difficulty 3 influence test.
Influence? What's that?
Where it's at on the character sheet.
Yeah, I don't see an influence.
It's under the gear tab.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, all right. Here we go.
All right. Excellent.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I still don't think I got it.
He looks at you and goes, I'll let her know you're here. Please wait.
And could you also be sure to mention that the High Luminen, hang on, let me get the name, that the High Luminen Osifa, I am here on her behalf.
Ah, yes, I will let her know. He disappears.
I would not want to disappoint the High Luminen.
Indeed. I understand how particular those of your calling are. I will let our personnel know that you are here. And he walks away.
Byrrc doesn't take that as an insult, by the way. He's just like, yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We are.
Yeah. About a half hour later, you see a Titan guard captain walking out in her uniform. She approaches you. Byrrc Talav, I assume?
Yes.
I'm Axiarch Thracia, guard captain of the Titan Legio. What may I do for you?
We have an appointment to meet with the secretary on behalf of High Luminen. God dang, I keep forgetting her name. High Luminen Osifa. We have urgent business.
And you are meeting with me. What is your urgent business?
My bad. Okay. Sorry.
You had no way of knowing.
Okay, good. Wasn't sure that was like a Jeff being a dumbass.
No. She's being a dick.
Okay, good. So, again, he doesn't pick up on that. Fellowship of 1. He just this kind of stuff doesn't bother him. So he would say,
We have learned from High Lumen and Osifa that a incident has occurred at a nearby tech crypt involving the tech ganger group called the Hardwares, that they have absconded with a stolen
She
status.
holds up her hand. She's like, no.
I am sorry, I do not compute.
No.
These are
This did
facts
not
that
happen.
I understand. We have heard
Give me-
Yeah. He leaves. See ya.
Give me a-
That doesn't happen, guys.
Give me a difficulty 3 insight check.
Okay. 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 Here we go.
Did you say an insight test?
Yeah.
Insight.
I have. Hey, I got 2 successes. The best I could do. I have 1 die.
Two.
We
Okay.
That's
assist.
the best I could
You
do.
can.
Yeah, can we-
You can. Yes, you can. Because I mean, you guys are all hearing this, so
I mean, I'm rolling 2 dice because everything tonight
Oh,
has
God,
been.
Nora.
Oh crap!
Oh, God.
I
We're
didn't
gonna get into a
help. I
fight.
made it worse. I rolled a
Okay.
rough
Oh
complication.
no.
between the 3 of you, you're able to figure out she's
Rubber 2 brain
clearly
cells.
bluffing. She knows something happened, and she's just trying to stonewall you. The wrath complication. Roll the complication. Let's see what it comes up with. I'll see. I've got something in mind.
Sure. Machine spirit. Some technology in the
Plenty
scene
of options, I'm sure.
malfunctions.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so what happens is when she just says no and is clearly preparing to dismiss you, a servo skull flies out of a corridor and stops. Doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, but just sort of scans the 4 of you. And the colors of its eyes change from this kind of light lavender to a scarlet. And this kind of unnerves the captain quite a bit. And then the servo skull just spins and flies away. And she looks back, she's sputtering. She's like, listen, come with me, come with me. And she leads you deeper into the compound, into her office. The doors to her office seal. You feel the pressure change in it. And then, Beric, you feel suddenly off kilter as she uses some sort of data baffles to basically turn this into a cone of silence, so to speak, within her office. No data in, no data out.
Okay.
All right. What are your questions?
With no joking at all, he just goes through the exact same thing he was saying outside in the exact order. The high lumen, like a incident has occurred at a tech crypt within the Forge City involving the theft of a status coffin by the tech gangers, they call the Hardwares.
Yeah.
We have been informed by High Lumen Osifa that you have contact with this tech gang. We would like to be debriefed as to the intelligence you have on this tech gang and perhaps their whereabouts.
All right. I'm not saying we had anything to do with the theft of this status coffin. However, my spies within my organization did determine the existence of the status coffin, but they were unable to corroborate what was its contents. I believe that it contains something of heretical nature, and I was determined to retrieve it to prove that Archdomina Vakul is unsuitable for rulership if she is maintaining heretical tech within a tech crypt within her own city. Now, I don't know where the status coffin is right now. The mercenaries that supposedly were hired betrayed us, and took off with the status coffin and the tech adept who was maintaining it. But we don't know where they went, and we don't know where they are right now. I will tell you this, though. If you bring us the status coffin, we will match the price of Archdomina Vakul and increase it by a full 50%.
What
Because
was the last
it's
known
our
whereabouts?
goal. Our last contact with them was when they were leaving the tech crypt. They're fairly savvy, and they scrubbed their tech presence from the data sphere. We don't know where they went to ground. The last image we have was their group loading the stasis coffin onto ground transport and helping this tech adept up into it. Audio just briefly picked up this tech adept saying, "You've got to be careful with the stasis coffin. It's my job to maintain it. I can't let anything happen to it." Then they dropped off. They scrubbed all surveillance of the ground vehicle, and we've lost track of them. At that point, we shut the operation down.
Do you have a dossier on the hardwares containing suspected and or known members, suspected and or known associates, suspected and or known locations that they are possibly to be taking hideout within?
We don't have precise information on any of their personnel, but I can tell you that the hardwares, and at least members of the hardwares, are often found down in some of the underhive areas of Biloxia. There's a secondhand cyber chop dock that they often go to. It's called the Tune-Up. It's a backstreet cyber surgery. It's neutral ground for all the tech gangers. The owner, his name is Skriner. If anybody knows more about them, it'll be Skriner.
So we could go in saying that we are looking for some adaptations.
That's his primary business. So yeah, that would be a good cover to get in if you wanted to go that route.
Thank you
How
for your-
exactly
Oh,
did you
okay.
get in touch with the hardware?
Through Skriner. We notified him that we were looking for a group of tech gangers for plausible deniability and the help of retrieval of that stasis coffin. He set up the transfer of funds. There was no face-to-face meeting with them. It's not a part of the city that I go to.
Do you have the capability of...
And so he's going to provide the data that he was given for Biren Amiga, because you said like there was some data that we had. Is it so? That's. I mean, it seems pretty clear that that's the tech adept that's doing that. I guess what Birk is looking for is if there's any information that she might have on Biren Amiga, or that they could acquire about Biren Amiga that maybe wasn't immediately available to us at the already sort of scrubbed tech crypt.
She goes, "Listen, I'm not going to get directly involved with this, but my cogitator there can link into the full city surveillance network. And if you've got his identification, elect 2, you may be able to get the information that you need yourself. I will be taking a meditation break. I expect I won't see you again when I come back to my office. She leaves the office and leaves
Okay.
her cogitator open for access.
And he'll immediately start going to town on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Enhance.
Give me
Enhance.
a DN5 tech test. Greater
boy.
successes will give you greater information.
Okay.
Nura just stands behind him. Your back is
Tech
safe.
5.
You have still not been attacked. We are successful.
Just.
She's just standing there with her arms folded because she has like absolutely no skill in
Oh,
like
God.
anything that we've done, like tech or insight or cunning or any of the things. So she's just like, I am useful.
Would I still have Haster Cravo with me?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
with you all the time, yeah.
Can I tap
Absolutely.
into him for assistance
You
on this?
certainly may.
Okay, because I'm out
That's
of rest.
his job.
And do you remember what I get in terms of assistance from him?
2 bonus dice.
Perfect. Thank you. Difficulty 5, bonus of 2. Okay, here we go. Yeah, 4 successes. Not quite enough. Just missed it.
Okay. So you do get some information, but you don't get all of it. So you're able to track his whereabouts. You can confirm that he has not been back to his home or work since the attack. And you're able to determine that he used his adept credentials to reserve transportation capacity on the Stronos space elevator destined for Delta Sig Novum orbital platform. That he made 2 reservations. One left yesterday and the other leaves tomorrow. But that's all the information you're able to glean from it.
Okay. So it was a Stronum elevator, you said?
The Stronos space elevator.
Stronos. Okay.
And is destined for the Delta Sig Novum orbital platform.
Okay.
One of his reservations left yesterday, and he's got a reservation that leaves tomorrow.
And both of them are going to the same location? Like both, like the elevator connects to the same. Okay.
Correct. You would expect, because you know this area, the Stronos space elevator. It's difficult to get space on it. So it may just be that those were the only 2 reservations that he could get, that he could get 2 closer together.
Okay. We have a lead. We could head to the space elevator. We could try a stakeout for the time tomorrow. We could try to inquire and see if there is any footage or something like that, security footage of him actually getting on, or confirmation that he actually completed the first. So in terms of the timeline of what happened in the tech crypt and his actual first reservation, is there enough time between those 2 for him to actually get over there and onto the
yeah.
Okay.
So it was the theft was 3 days ago. His first reservation was yesterday, so it was a 2-day gap between the theft and the first reservation out for the space elevator.
Okay.
We have a way of telling where the space elevator is going at that time that he left.
Yeah, I mean it
Delta Sig place.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was going up to the Delta Sig Novum orbital platform. So there's multiple space elevators connecting the surface of Avacrum to different orbital platforms, and the one he made reservations were specifically for the Delta Sig Novum orbital platform.
What do we know about that platform?
Nothing at the moment. Much. I mean, it's an orbital platform. You know that there are foundries on it. You know that there's some shipyards and docking. Most of these orbital platforms are used for transferring of goods from orbit to the planet, and from the planet to ships to take elsewhere. So it's just easier than landing a ship and then having to take off. You burn through a lot less fuel if you're able to load and offload from orbit. So that's the primary purpose of these orbital platforms.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Bjerk probably takes them decently regularly.
All the time, all the time.
Yeah. So maybe not this one, but he's definitely taken some before. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like we could go there as ASAP and see if we can get anyone or into any systems to confirm that he actually took advantage of his reservation yesterday. And short of, if it looks like he hasn't, or even if he has, we could even make use of like a stakeout or something for tomorrow or whatever, and see if we can grab him then. Seems like the most
because it
logical
does
thing to do.
seem like they're gonna try and get this coffin off planet.
I like it. So as you leave this Legio Caruthas fortress, you're walking out of the entryway and into the public square and headed towards public transportation. You hear somebody clear their throat. Brother Talav, mind if I bend your ear for a moment? And as you turn, you see this shabbily dressed man in a protective overcoat. Looks like he's dressed like a forge laborer. He walks up. He's like, "I'm a criminal investigator here on Balexia." He shows you his ID. You see he's got a very crude augmetic in his right eye, and it's kind of looking off to one side as his real eyes staring at you. He's like, "I'd really like to ask you a few questions if you've got a moment. You and your..." And he looks over at the sisters, and you can see that he starts to say sisters, but then he says associates. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight.
Okay.
As our crew of investigators are on the hunt for a missing stasis coffin.
You're like, oh, this
And
is
someone
Janet.
is hunting
This is
us.
Chrissy.
Janet?
I was like,
Who's
wait
this
a
brother
minute.
Tal you're talking about?
He goes,
Right.
"I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Mr. Ropa."
Oh, Ashley, if you only do, it's better than Furley. Can you do your Don Knotts impression?
Oh, no. I can't do a Don Knotts to save my life.
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
It's like,
Barney
Brother
Fife.
Tal.
Brother Tallow. That's fantastic.
That's awesome. Fantastic. That was a lot of fun. Sister Nura, what's up? Did you do anything? Did you get any? I mean, the one thing you were supposed to do is protect my back, and you let an undercover cop.
And if
Get
if
right
we
up
hadn't
on
cut
him.
right then, Sister Nura was gonna like cross her
Gonna hit
arms
him
and just
just
sort of
like-
slide herself over behind him to make it look like she was doing something useful here.
So we've gone from a heavy train heist and some and fighting orcs to a deep investigation. So little change in directions, but some fun, I hope, for everybody.
No, it was a lot of fun.
I love
I
it.
enjoyed that. I got to go to the Full Grey Chapel House, so I'm extremely excited. So, I mean, I had to bring these two with me, but they're nice.
We've been helping. We're so helpful.
I want that
In our
first edition
helpingness.
Electro Leech staff so bad right now. I just want to grab it.
It is a beauty.
And then hers was like all fancy like, and it's like,
Oh my God, hers was like, you looked
One
at
day.
hers and you were like, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's like
That's
10
what I'm
wealth
talking about
would probably cost you to have one
High
manufactured like that.
Luminin Taloff. There's a ring to that.
That's a nice ring to that. It's a nice ring to that.
All right.
All right.
Let's do some close and plugs, then we get on out of here. So, Aaron, why don't you tell us first about what's going on with Garblack?
Fantastic. Next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. No. So, yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch Millie, the GM, as she continues her Coriolis run. The classic Coriolis free league game. Not to be confused with the new one that's going to be coming out on Kickstarter soon, but definitely check it out. She's been running this campaign for a long time, and with the Icon's blessing, she will finish it off. Then on Wednesday, you can find me back in the narrator's seat as we continue our Marvel Multiverse playthrough of the Cataclysm of Kang. We are fighting to save New York against the supremacy and the Hydra forces of Earth 56348. And then on Thursday, Pete should be back, continuing his Heroic Deeds playthrough of the Red Hand of Doom. Heroic Deeds being his own game that he is kickstartering right now. It's got, I think, 6 days left, maybe 5 days. Fully funded. high fantasy with an old school feel with some nice, interesting new modern mechanics. So definitely check out his playthrough, either live on YouTube or the older YouTube sections. Check out the Discord if you got questions for him. And if you like what you see, back it.
Absolutely. As for us here, what do we got going on? Tomorrow is our next stream. We've got some more Call of Cthulhu, playing our Eternal Lies campaign. Monday, we're back to Fragged Empire, so it's more space sci-fi shenanigans. Tuesday, we are playing some of Heroic Deeds, and we're going to finish up our trio of episodes for that, so you can come see how it's played right here on this channel as well. Thursday, we're starting a brand new campaign. We just finished up Werewolf the Apocalypse last night, and we're going to be starting up some Simba Room, speaking of Free League. So come hang out with us and meet the new characters, see how it all kind of gets thrown up. We're gonna try to do the Throne of Thorns campaign, that big mega campaign. So we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. And then Friday next week we got Delta Green, and we'll be back with more Warhammer 40k in 2 weeks as we alternate with Delta Green. Thank you to everyone hanging out tonight. Thank you to 20 Sides, to Every Story for the raid. We really do appreciate it. We are going to go ahead and raid our buddies over at the Defenders of Cobalt, as they are playing some Teenage Odyssey. Our friend Chuck has a game up on Kickstarter called Teenage Odyssey, and if you want to see how it's played, we're gonna go show you as we're gonna raid them, and then maybe you can go back. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
Good night.